Tonight's show is dedicated to the memory of an outstanding Indigenous Australian. He touched the lives of many people, both black and white here in Australia and around the world. He was a great leader, teacher and a mentor to many. As the lead singer of Yoth Yindi, his music was unique and bridged the gap between two cultures. I had the privilege of knowing him personally as a friend and brother for over 20 years. All the mob here at Marngrook Footy Show pass on our deepest condolences and sympathy to his wife, daughters and extended family. His legacy and his music will always live on. Nama Yalala Wawa. Tonight, Demon Aaron Davey joins us. A treat for old Roy fans in flashbacks and, as usual, a full preview of all this weekend's game. A big welcome to my co-host, Gilly McAdam.
Yeah. I'd just like to say my condolences to Unipingi. You said that brilliantly. Well done, brother. That was magnificent. But, you know, getting back to the footy now, but I just want to say Richmond Footy Club. What a great win over the Eagles. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to ask Ronnie Burns later, but they're in the 8, Ronnie.
Well, they're going to make the grand final too.
Let's introduce the panel. Rockin' Ronnie Burns, Chris Johnson and the king on the end, Wayne Carey. Well, Gilly, let's turn our attention to football now, and in particular the Melbourne Football Club, and it seems almost certain that the coach Mark Neild will not be coaching the Melbourne Football Club in 2014. So the question asked there is, who should be the coach next year? So I might go to Ronnie first and we'll talk about, or Duck actually. Let's talk about...
I'm not good enough to give you an answer.
I'll come back to you, Ronnie, but Dennis Pagan, one coach that's been touted, maybe a comeback. Has he been out of the game too long, Duck, or is he still up for it?
I think he could do the job, but I think he's been out of the game for a little bit too long now. I don't think he'd consider it. But there are plenty of guys that are about. Can they get a Paul Roos? Can they entice him out of retirement? I don't think so. I think where they're at right now, a bit like Port Adelaide, 6 months ago, I think there'd be some very wary guys that'd have to be a lot of changes off-field for them to take on the on-field role.
What about yourself? Wouldn't you throw your name in the hat? I mean, you're due now. I mean,
I've made some mistakes and I'm a bit silly, but I'm not that silly.
Well, this is time to fix it up, mate.
Now, Ronnie, one of your former coaches, Gary Ayres, has done a great job at Port Melbourne the last few years. Would he be a possible candidate that perhaps Melbourne might look at?
Oh, look, I love Gary Ayres, but we all know that they're looking at guys that middle-aged sort of thing and younger guys. Gary Ayres he's been there and done it and doing some terrific work down at the VFL Port Melbourne. But there's one name, Melbourne, seriously, go and pay money for this guy, Bomber Thompson. Seriously, just throw the money at him and just try and squeeze him out. I reckon he's one of the best coaches going around, obviously.
Chris, there's obviously a lot of assistant coaches at clubs right now. Is it perhaps a good opportunity for a current day sort of guy that's in the system to take over the reins at Melbourne?
I think it is, Grant. I think there's a couple of guys that are around the clubs at the moment in Ben Hart, Adam Simpson, Mark Bickley. There's plenty of assistants that have played lots of great games of football for their clubs. Could easily take the reins, I think, at Melbourne.
Gilly, what do you think? Who do you think might be a good coach?
Oh, look, it's a situation where financially they're not going really well financially. You can talk about all the footy stuff. You can talk about the coaching, the football department, but at the end of the day, they've got no money. Can they afford to pay him out for the rest of the year? I don't think they can. They actually need him to finish. But in saying that, the supporters have to put up with this for the next 10 weeks. That's the hard question.
Who do you like, though? You haven't given us a name.
What, as a replacement?
Matthew Knights?
Oh, look...
Jocko Williams?
Nah, look, I reckon it'll be someone internally.
One of your cousins?
I reckon Neil Craig internally. No, they're going to have someone internally because they need to keep their circle. And if they get someone outside, what's the use of bringing someone outside just for for 10 weeks. It's
The one
not
thing
worth
I
it.
will say, I think they need someone obviously really strong, a lot of presence, real aura about them to come in there and be a real strong leader. I don't think, and you just named a few names there, and they are all fantastic players and probably fantastic assistants. I think they need someone that's been there before, actually coached a senior side, whether it be SANFL, Waffle, or even VFL or whatever, but been in charge of a side before they take on a job like
Carl
that.
Stefanovic, you're up.
Okay, might just leave it there for the time being. Gilly, what do you got on the grill for us this week?
Yeah, now look, with the grill, I'm actually going to talk about the West Coast Eagles, and I want to ask the panel what their opinion about this, because I actually feel that the West Coast Eagles have slowed down. That Kerr, a few of the fellas are getting older. Pritis, you know, he's probably not the quickest one going around, and there's probably a couple of others. So we're going to look at some clips here. Have a look at this. This is against Port Adelaide with little Jakey Need, and then you got Chris Yarron. They just outpaced them. The Kangaroos, remember when they jumped them early on? The pace just too quick. And then Richmond, look what they did to them on Monday night. So I actually wanted to ask the panel what they think about West Coast, and are they too slow now?
Oh, look, I think they're definitely struggling. They're not playing great footy. They've had their moments. I think at certain stages this year they've looked slow, and you've showed those examples. I still think they're a top 8 side, and I think they'll
make the top 8.
I still think they'll make the top 8, and they'll come good.
They certainly haven't made their ground the fortress anymore as what it used to be. Used to go over there and
Even last
fear.
year and the year
Yeah,
before
used
that,
to go
that
over there
was
and used to fear playing against West Coast. At the moment, clubs are very comfortable about travelling over there and putting in good performances.
Is it because of that big ground?
I think it is, Gilly. I think it is. It's very, very big, and it may be taking the toll on them.
There's also a tendency, Duck, is when you're losing, you look slower. When you're winning, everything looks good, and you look faster and you look quick.
Oh, look at Carlton at the start of the year. We're all saying they were gone, and then all of a sudden they were the quickest side in the competition.
Okay, Gilly,
Is he going to say anything? Or?
Oh, I'm just going to say.
I'm just going to sit here for the whole show.
I was just going to say, you're talking about slow. I've been watching him. Every time you talk, you're very slow.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Okay, Gilly, let's just hold it there. It's time to go to this week's AFL News with Layla Guruiwi.
Thanks, Grant. Essendon meets Carlton for the first time this season at the MCG tomorrow night. Bombers coach James Hird says the traditional rivalry between the clubs adds some extra spice to the big clash.
Oh, I think the rivalry between Carlton and Essendon is very real. When you play against Carlton, it's a fantastic opportunity. The fans don't like each other very much when the game's on, and it's a great rivalry.
Carlton coach Mick Malthouse has a completely different take on the history between the two clubs, saying he will treat the match just like any other.
Personally, I don't get caught up in any of those things, because it's another team that's sitting in front of us. I don't know enough about that rivalry to start to investigate it, to use it as anything else except that we play Essendon and they are sitting one win in front of us.
During the season, opposition coaches have tried to come up with a way to stop the genius of Gary Ablett. This week, Brad Scott came up with the best plan yet.
Well, we're thinking about trying to take up 3 or 4 cars, and maybe when he drives into the car park, just block him in so he can't get out of his car. That'd be a good option. That'd be the best way to stop him.
Opinion, the teams placed in the top 4 this week, Hawthorn, Geelong, Sydney and Fremantle, are the best teams in the competition. And I'm very glad to see the Bulldogs are well off the bottom in 14th position, making a charge from here on in. Well, fingers crossed. And guys, our first snap of the week shows young Patrick playing his second game for the Ferny Grove Falcons. Now, that's what I call concentration. And then we have Harina from WA, who says that after this trip to Melbourne last week, her husband Brad prefers this snap to their wedding photo. And our last snap perfectly captures the personality of an overly serious Hawthorn supporter and his mischievous Collingwood mate. And Grant, no doggy supporters there.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, they've all jumped off.
You won the last couple. You're going well.
Well.
Anyway.
Even the dogs are too smart.
If you'd like to see one of your footy snaps in this segment, go to the Marngrook website and follow the prompts. You'll also find our tips on the site, but as a sneak preview, I think the Swans will get over the Crows, even though the game's in Adelaide. And the same goes for West Coast, who will have an away win over the Saints. And it's back to you, Grant.
Well, thank you, Layla. I know it's been a huge week for you also with the passing of your uncle. Well, Gilly, let's go to the first game. It's Essendon taking on Carlton Friday night at the MCG. And firstly, Essendon Inns.
Yeah, good to see Alwyn Davey back in the side and Howlett and Hurley. Good to see Hurley back with Danner. I can't wait to watch Danner. He's the most exciting young kid in the AFL. Out the side, Dempsey out with the ribs. Jett has been omitted on Gumton with the ankle, and Bell Chambers has been omitted for the Carlton Blues. Good to see this Chris Judd, the former skipper. Eddie Betts is back. Lucas out the side, Menzel, Bell and Bootsma.
Couple of big ins there for Carlton, that's for sure, Gilly. But Chris, I'll go firstly to you. The Bombers, they've had a lot of good run off half back this year with Dempsey and Hibbard. Dempsey's obviously out injured at the moment, but Hibbard's game becomes even more important, but he's been absolutely fantastic all year.
Yeah, look, he's been running and carrying the ball pretty well, and his disposal of the footy too has been pretty good. And as we see here on the replay, he's been able to get forward and kick a couple of goals, and the loss of Dempsey is going to be a massive loss. He's been given so much run and creativity of the back half, and certainly supporting his midfield to carry the ball through to enter inside the forward 50.
Now, Rockin, we've spoken about the small forwards this year and how important they are to the team. Alwyn Davies back in the side this week and he's been out, but he'll be a big in for Essendon this weekend.
For sure, I reckon they've been missing him, Jono, Elwyn Davey, and he's actually started off really well this season until I think he had the hamstring. And just his forward pressure, we see young Jetters out of the side, but it's great to see this guy back in the side because he's actually kicking a lot more goals this year and straightening up and putting them through, so it's good to see him in that side.
The thing I like about him too, Ronnie, he's just not, like the last couple of years, he's just been worried about tackling all the time. Now, what you're saying, he's just kicking a lot more goals.
Yeah, I got into his ear and I said, be selfish, mate, just kick some goals.
Hey, Duck, Andrew Walker, he's been in terrific form since Mickey Malthouse has gone to the club. He's taken it to another level. His versatility against Essendon, would you play him back or forward or on the ball?
Yeah, look, I think, well, as you said there, his flexibility and versatility is fantastic. He can play half-back, play on the ball or forward. I think he's probably his best position is a mixture of all of those. I think when he plays just forward, they tend to lock down on him. When he plays down back, they probably send a tagger down to slow his run-off half-back. So I think throwing him around is probably the best option for him.
Chris, Eddie Betts back in the side this week. He's going to be a dangerous player. They have to really watch him, so the Essendon backmen need to be tight.
Massive inclusion with big shorts, exactly, Ronnie. Look, they've certainly missed him as well. Like he's a genuine forward where he's that small that he can still be the target from a full forward leading, and not many guys can do that at his size, Duck. So he's worth his weight in gold. Okay, well, let's get some tips on this game. Firstly, Duck.
Big Joe Danaher in his first game. I'm going with the Bombers.
It hurts me, and I'm going to have to stay with Duck. I'm going to have to go the Bombers.
Well, Gilly, the Blues have had more bounces than any side in that comp. What do you reckon? What makes you...
Well, it depends if the bounces are in the back half or the forward half.
It wasn't anything theory. I just said they love bouncing the ball, that's all. But I'm going to go with the Blues to beat
Gilly, the Blues have won the last three against Essendon, and great to see Danaher coming to the side. I'm pretty excited about watching him play, but I think Carlton will win this one.
No, you're right. I can't wait to watch him play. But you know what? I've become a bit of a Carlton fan since Mickey Malthouse has gone there, and I'm going for the Blues.
Okay, Gilly, well, it's time to go out to Shelley Ware now, who's with tonight's special guest.
Grant, I don't know where Aaron Davey is. So that's why they call you the Flash. Grant will be back after the break.
Uses his body beautifully, gets the front, chopping of the arms, no, Davey around the body, Davey's kick is a beauty, Davey's kick is a goal!
Well, there's been too many highlights for the Melbourne Footy Club this year, but one player is capable of turning on. It's Aaron Davey. Please make him welcome to the Marngrook Footy Club. Always great to have you back, mate.
It's great to be on here. It's been a long time, so I've actually missed Ronnie and Gilly. But yeah, look forward to tonight. So
now, it'd be fair to say, brother, that the Melbourne Football Club, they're under siege at the moment, like the Australian Labor Party, and it's been a tough year for you guys. You've only had, one win? There's been a fair few defeats there. What's the feeling amongst the playing group, amongst the players?
yeah, obviously there's been a lot of external pressure from the media, but as a playing group, we're actually found a lot of positives over the last few weeks, and we've really gelled together. I know it mightn't look like that, but you know, last night we actually sat down and spent a bit of time and had dinner, so we're doing a lot more things. But we're close, and we know what we want to get. So hopefully, come Monday against Collingwood, this is our biggest game of the year. And I know all the boys are pumped and looking forward to it and bounce back from the last couple of weeks. So, but no, we're stronger and closer than ever. So.
Oh, Aaron, look, I actually did your game on radio on the weekend, and I thought that your game was very exceptional. That's the best game I've seen you for the year. It doesn't matter, Ronnie. It's about the team going out and performing. And Aaron, you did really well last week, brother. So well done.
Cheers, brother.
I wanted to ask you about, you've got a lot of these experts out there that criticise, and in some cases, some of the merits, it's had merit in it. What do you do as a club to be more competitive? How do you go about it? And what do you? I know you sit down and you have your meetings and all that, but it's with all that outside pressure, what do you do?
I think we just obviously with footy we've got a great opportunity that every week we can work on our mistakes, and it's been a big tough first half, but I think it comes back to we're playing with I guess probably no confidence at all. So. It's amazing what confidence can do. I don't care how good of a player you are. If you don't go out there with confidence, you tend to play a different way. You don't play to your strengths. You don't play on instincts. So I reckon confidence would be a big thing. But in saying that, our last few weeks, I know last week we got beaten quite convincingly.
Yeah, but your third quarter, the Melbourne Footy Club was terrific last week, and you did it for one quarter. Why can't you string 1 or 2 or 3?
Well, that's the thing we've sort of spoken about. So we've had patches throughout the year where we actually have dominated a quarter. We've beaten GWS, kicked 12, the highest last quarter score, which was good. We just spoke about it last 2 weeks, third quarters. All we need to do now as a group, and we know it, we got to put all 4 quarters together to get the result that we want, and hopefully that comes on Monday against Collingwood, Queen's birthday. So.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Confidence is an amazing thing, and when you haven't got any of it, it can look terrible out on the ground. I've probably been one that's been quite critical. I want to ask what the leadership does straight after a game when you know it has been a bad loss, and some of those losses, as Gilly just alluded to, some of those losses you've actually played really well within that game. But after a game when you've had a loss like that, does the leadership group sit down and how have they gone about addressing the rest of the group?
The leaders tend to catch up on a weekly basis, so they'll sort of, come Monday or Tuesday, they'll go over the weekend and obviously, try and nut out a few issues or whatever it might be on the track. But, I think we're pretty good. Like we said, we're as a group, there's no one splintering off. We know we're in it together, and we're going to sort of, Essendon have done it. They've used the old us against them mentality, and hopefully we can use that starting this week and stick it up a lot of people and prove them wrong, because, like I said, we go out there every week. We don't go out there to not try. We go out there to give 110%, and unfortunately, when you're lacking a lot of confidence, you can't go out there to play your full potential.
And Flash, you've been hitting some form, obviously. We've seen a bit of vision of you this year. Back up forward again, where you started your career, what you were drafted for to Melbourne. Where do you prefer? They played you back through the middle. Where's your position? Where do you prefer to play?
Oh, if I was playing at Hawthorn, I'd play in the forward pocket and wouldn't leave. Kick a lot more goals. I just don't mind playing forward. And obviously, the last few weeks I've had a bit more, and Nildy's given me a bit more of a licence to roam up and start playing to my strengths, and one of my biggest strengths is my kicking. So he's been enabled me to go out there with a lot of confidence, and hopefully as an older senior player, try and get some of these young guys up and go from there.
I was just going to roll on with that Jono's question, and I had that in the back of my head. In the last couple of years, Flash, I love watching you play. I'm a guy, I get sick of people, when we have players on here, which position would you like to play? People, I just want to play on the field, I don't care. I just want to make the coach happy. I'm one of these guys that I want to play in the forward line, because that's where I played all my career. Go in the back line, I start shaking. Midfield, I'm a bit of a superstar in there, but that's okay. But I reckon some of these coaches, Bailey and even, I reckon they've played you out of position, and I reckon that's affected your career, because, mate, you're a superstar in the forward line, and you come back in the side. You and Nathan Jones have been the standout, obviously, in the last month for me. And Jones has been terrific. But this is my opinion. I think the coaches, Bailey and also Neil, they've played you out of position. They've actually really played you out of your careur.
Oh, no, I can't agree there, Ronnie.
Well, you told me the back, that's what they did.
Now you're putting words in my mouth. With Bales, it gave me a lot more of a broader look, I guess. I came in the system as a small forward and just went out there and just I was lucky to have blokes around me like David Neitz, Russell Robinson, Byron Pickett and these guys. And obviously they brought the ball to ground.
But
so
you've actually created up in that forward line and given them a bit of
well, as you
zing-zang up there.
move on, Ronnie, I know you didn't do a lot of chasing in your time.
No, I didn't.
But,
when he came out Adelaide, I did.
and as you get a lot older, so obviously I like to try and play to my strengths, and personally I'd like to think my kicking's my strength and decision making. So to be able to give him that licence in the last couple of weeks, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity Nildy's given me in the last couple of weeks. So, but I guess a lot of people have their take on it, but I've enjoyed all my coaches throughout my career, and each one of them have brought something special to my career. So,
Flash, just going to the younger players that probably haven't played this year and will play next year. Jesse Green, Jesse Hogan, and Don Barry as well. What has the Melbourne supporters got to look forward to in those sorts of players coming through? Because they're probably playing reserve football at the moment and not getting an opportunity, but there's certainly some upside there, isn't there?
Well, that's the thing. We've got these young, exciting guys coming in, and so everyone's sort of talking about how disappointing the list is. You actually look in it, we've actually got a really good group of players, that you got Jeremy Howe, who's going to be exciting for the next 10 years. As you just mentioned, we got Jesse Hogan, who's a 17-year-old, pretty much in a grown man's body that can read the play. He hits the contest hard. So the future's bright for Melbourne. It's going to be disappointing when they do turn the tables. I won't be there, but it's obviously great. We've got Jimmy Toumpas and Jackie Viney. So hopefully these young guys start taking more of a leadership role amongst themselves and really help drive this club forward.
You might be the coach.
Yeah, possibly. Could be the coach there, Ronnie, and might get you the runner. So
you need some running.
Yeah.
Fitness coach.
Or actually defensive coach.
As just said, tight mate, because we're going to go to that game now. It's a big one. Two old rivals, Melbourne versus Collingwood.
Yeah, look, talking about getting players back, good to see Sylvia and Sella and Blease and Gorn and McDonald out the side. Frawley, they'll miss him. He did a terrific job on Buddy last week. Strauss has been omitted for the Collingwood Magpies. Cloak, he's back in. Sinclair, Payne and Oxley. And now mate Andy Cracker, he's been omitted. You know what? I hope this is... they beat these mob a couple of years ago. You never know, you never know, you never know.
Chrissy, Shaw's back in the side this week, but one player I thought shows a bit is young Paul Seedsman. He's been fantastic. He was great off half-back last week.
He's been a good find for him, Grant. Everyone would have seen last week's game and wrapped him on that, up on that, but he's been just building his season just slowly. He's been, when they won against Geelong as well, he was probably one of the better players coming off half-back, run and carry, as we see this, getting behind the defence, and he's quite composed under pressure and has a nice right foot on him, and does kick goals when he gets the opportunity in front of him.
Now, Aaron, Chris Dawes plays against his old club, Collingwood, and I'm sure he's pumped to play well and show a few people that he's a good player, but he's come back in the side the last couple of weeks. He's obviously still finding his feet, but he'd be keen to do well. Yeah,
I can imagine that he would. Dawes has been pretty good form. Last week he played a really great role, 12 marks. Obviously we got beaten convincingly, but he had two good defenders on him in Gibbo and Lake. So Dawes has been great. His leadership's been great down there. He's another guy that's really driven the standards down there, the way he goes about his footy. I know he'll be pumped for it, and like in saying that, I think all of our boys are looking forward to the challenge, and obviously been a tough week and, like I said, tough month for us, but we're really set for this one. This is our biggest game for the year, and hopefully we can play 4 quarters and get a win for him.
Yeah, look, good to see Sylvia back, because he's going to add to your on-ball. Talking about on-ball, Swan and Sidebottom, they've been in terrific form. I know the boys are going to have to tag, but it's a fine line. Sometimes you just got to have a go, and I hope you have a go this week.
Yeah, obviously you just mentioned some great names there. If we get Ronnie down quick enough, he can teach the boys how to defend. So
he can't defend.
No, it should be good. Like I agree. We want to go out there and play our game, but in saying that, we can't be arrogant and brush these guys off because they're
too defensive. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, that's it. Hopefully we bring an attacking style come Monday.
Well, as you said before, I totally agree with you. I think what's happened over the last few weeks is everyone has analysed your list, and your list isn't that bad, and that's why when people, I guess, are critical, they see the talent and they say, well, why aren't they performing better? But I think that Collingwood not playing great footy at the minute, so they might be right for the picking.
So you're picking Melbourne this week, don't you?
No, I'm not. I'm tipping Collingwood to win.
Chris, your selection?
Pies.
I'm going to go the Pies, but I hope Brother Boy has a good day.
Okay, Aaron, no good asking you, but I think Collingwood will win this one. Be a close one.
Yeah, no, look, I hope the D's give them a good challenge, and I think Collingwood will win in the end.
Okay, Roddy, what do you got blooper-wise for us this week?
Well, Flash, I love the huddles. You know, when you get in the huddles and it gets really cosy in there, and I've actually caught this shot here, North Melbourne duck. I don't know how close you guys got, but I just got this picture here. I think it's Cunningham. If you get a little bit closer, you're looking for Edo. And we're just zooming in. He's got the thumb in the bum. I actually like the huddles, but North Melbourne. What's going on there, mate? They're very close to North Melbourne.
Ronnie.
The culture that we created, Ronnie.
Beautiful. Rockin, do you go to the footy with a magnifying glass?
Yeah.
Mate, I catch funny things.
You know what? He looks for that sort of stuff.
I like those sort of stuff.
We just might leave it there, Aaron. Thanks a lot for coming on the show tonight. Good luck for the rest of the season. Davey. We'll be back after the break with footy flashbacks.
Now, last chance for Fitzroy. What a fitting finish this is. Ruse! No, unable. Still an opportunity. Abbott can't crash his way through. Ruse's left foot kick is a goal! Unbelievable finish!
That was Paul Roos kicking the winning goal in one of the classic Fitzroy Collingwood encounters, Gilly. That was in round 11, 1992 at Princes Park, and I love seeing those old Fitzroy jumpers too.
Oh, I love it. And you know, Roosie, people underestimate how good he was, that bloke, because he was a champion player. He reminds me of, like, Gary Ablett with the Gold Coast Suns. That's how Paul Roos was with Fitzroy back then. He was just a one-man team almost, and he's a champion footballer, Paul Roos, don't worry about that.
Gilly, in that particular game, the Magpies are 27 points down at three-quarter time, and they come from behind to actually win the game. And Gary Pert, former Fitzroy player playing against his old side, kicked the winning goal.
Oh, look, unbelievable. And yeah, no, it's great to look at that old footage, and it's sad that you don't see the old Fitzroy in there anymore.
I like the blue shorts too. I think they should go back to the blue shorts, Gilly. But Chris, the Lions, they were great that day. You know, you had players like Jeremy Gard, Alistair Lynch, they kicked 3 goals each. And you look at some of those old players running around, Rossi Lyon, Doc Wheeldon, they were the great old days of Fitzroy.
They were, and I love the jumpers, and you know, it's great to see that, because I played my first game there in that jumper on Optus Oval, Princes Park, and it was a great day. I remember where I was at Vic Park playing TAC Cup football for Northern Knights, and there were quite a few Fitzroy supporters in the team, and they were just pumped. Like you see Jimmy Wynn, seen Jace Baldwin there, Matty Armstrong, some greats of the club that certainly took the club to great levels at that time of the year, and obviously Lynchy went up to Brisbane, and then I soon followed, but just some great memories there. I love those jumpers. I wish they wear those jumpers back down here when they play Brisbane.
Let's take a look at Game 3 between Adelaide and Sydney Saturday at Football Park. And firstly, let's go to Adelaide and have a look at the end there.
Yeah, good to see McKernan in there with Henderson and Crouch out the side. Martin has been omitted with Brown, and Lions for the Sydney Swans. Good to see Jesse White back in with Jack. That's the young Jack. That's his first game. Well done to young Jack. That's
Jack's brother.
That's Jack's brother. Yeah, look, he's going to be a star like Jack. Anyway, out the side, Jetters with shin soreness. I don't know about that. Ronnie and Welsh out with a hammy.
Well, Chris, the Swans midfield, they've been fantastic all year, and Adelaide will be up against that midfield on the weekend. Dangerfield's in great form, but that's really the depth of the strength of the Sydney Swans, is the amount of players that can run through that midfield.
Well, it's a massive test for Adelaide. They're going to lock down, as we've seen them do against Collingwood at the MCG a couple of weeks ago. We've seen them do it against Essendon last week. They're just a one-on-one team. They just play one-on-one all over the ground. They lock down. They shut the time and the space down. So they're going to be fantastic against to measure where Adelaide are at the moment, because I'm not too sure whether everyone knows, Duck, where Adelaide are at the moment, whether they're in the top 8, whether they're bottom 8. This will be a massive test for them, see how they cope with this rule lockdown sort of game.
Do they have to win to make the 8 this game?
Oh,
is that how crucial it is?
Adelaide need to win this game to get some respect within, not respect, but more to see where they sit within the table of the competition.
Yep. Duck, Mike Pike, is he in All-Australian form at the moment because, no, I think he's one of the best success stories in AFL football because success outside AFL football because he did come from the traditional grounding, did he? And he came, you know, from Canada of all places. I can't think of too many other players that were
He played the
recruited.
World Cup.
Yeah, rugby union background, and he's been tremendous, as you said. He's been a huge success. What he did last year, and he played a very good grand final. But what he did is he'd run under the ball a lot. This year I've noticed he's not running under the ball. He's timing his leap. He's a much more rounded player now. And a lot of you guys, well, you would, Jono, but Ronnie wouldn't. He actually leads the competition for contested marks. So he's taken, well, not a stack more, but quite a few more than Travis Cloke, who everyone thinks is the best contested mark in the league.
Yeah, Ronnie, we just want to ask you about Sam Jacobs. Now, he's been struggling for form up until now because he had a terrific year last year.
So you want me to mentor him?
No, I don't want you to mentor him. I just want you to say that he was sensational last week, and where do you see him in the next month? Because it's important for Adelaide to make the 8. They need him to dominate the next month.
50 hit-outs last week. Fantastic effort.
Just a couple behind me, but look, he's great. He's great for that. When he's going well, Adelaide Crows are flying, and actually good to see McKernan in this side. I actually rate this kid. He's a big body, and they can actually switch him up. He can go back. He can go in the ruck. I don't know.
He's been there a while. He's been there a while, McKernan.
He got in about 3 weeks ago.
And he's
they
back
gave
in
him
the side.
3 weeks. They dropped him. He's back in this week. I think they've got to almost.
Well, he needs to.
They need to guarantee him.
He's someone.
They need to guarantee him a position and say, we're going to give you 5 weeks.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah. And this is where he can sort of release Sam Jacob as well. Push up Sam Jacob up in the forward line. He can take a couple of grabs, and it's good to see McKernan just to give Jacobs a bit of a breather. But Jacob is very important for Adelaide Crows going forward. Gilly?
I actually wanted to ask you about Duck or Chrissy, one of you. Adelaide Crows, they're bringing this thing out about Tippett. And I'm sort of getting sick of hearing this Tippett thing. It's like they're looking for an excuse all the time. Why bring it up when you're playing them this week? I know they're trying to use it as a weapon. What do you think about it? Because I reckon it's crap.
Well, if you've got it, if you need that to win,
if you need that as motivation, then you're in trouble.
He's not even Tippett's not even playing.
You should be motivated every week to go out and play.
There is a lot of
football.
hard feeling there, though.
Yeah, there is a lot of hard
I mean, that's going to add a bit of spice to the game.
That shouldn't help you get over the line. No doubt at all. That should not help you get over the line. You should want to get over the line because you want the 4 points.
I'll tell you what it is.
The guy's not playing. If he was playing, it'd be different.
But I'll tell you what it is. The reason behind it is that they're playing at home in Adelaide, and I reckon he's using that as a tactic to get the crowd pumped up.
But that's if Tippett was playing. I could understand that it'd work.
But he's not playing.
Tippett's going to be sitting up in Sydney having a pina colada.
I suppose the hardest thing for Adelaide at the moment...
What's a colada?
A pina colada.
It's a chocolate
cocktail.
Well, I don't know.
I suppose Adelaide are a bit like West Coast Eagles, Chris. They're a bit up and down with their form at the moment. And with Tippett leaving the side, they've had to use a number of different players to try and find some sort of consistency up forward, and they haven't been able to do that. Hence, McKernan's coming to the side. I don't know about giving him 5 weeks.
Yeah, order boys here. You're right, Grant. They really haven't proved them. Like, they came from behind a couple of weeks ago against North, but up earlier on against Adelaide against the Saints, they weren't that good. They just got over the line. So here's a quality opposition where we can actually put them and benchmark them against a quality opposition.
All right, let's get some tips up. Your former club, Adelaide.
No, I think Sydney will win.
Swans.
I'm going to pick the Swans, but you've got a bit of colour in you. Where you been? In Queensland or something?
Pina coladas.
Ronnie, who are you going for?
I'm going to pina colada. Swans.
Swans for me too, Gilly.
Yeah. No, look, just quickly, I've just heard about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, that Marty Matner has officially retired from football. So, Ronnie, I know. Well, I'm telling people, just listen.
That's a big loss.
No, look, I just want to say well done because he came over from Adelaide and he went over and won a premiership. So, Marty Matner...
Why did he retire?
No, he's just retired on 222.
OK, well, time to go to you, Duck. What do you got for us this week?
Oh, sorry. Thanks for that, mate. I'm talking about the umpires and the inconsistencies. At the start of the year, between round 1 and 10, there were 45 free kicks a game. Then the average from round 10, they've dropped to 35. So when the umpires put the whistle away, I think the game's much better for it, and the game's a lot better spectacle. You only had to go back and watch the those who watched the State of Origin game last night. What a physical game when the umpires let it go, and that physicality, I just want to see back in our game. And, you know, don't over-umpire, so to speak.
Okay, Gilly, well, let's go to the next game. It's a huge one for both clubs. Gold Coast taking on North Melbourne Saturday night.
Yeah, for the Gold Coast. Look at that banner, great banner. Good to see Liam Patrick there with Dixon and Hutchin. Out the side, Horsley Matera. He was terrific last week. He's out with an ankle, and Gorringe is out. But for the Kangas, Magic Door Ronnie, he's got more muscles than you have. Out of the side, Surakowski's out of the side, but this will be a good game, this.
It will be a good game, Gilbert. And Chris, last week the Gold Coast were, well, they were exciting up for 3 quarters there against Geelong, and I thought, geez, it might be the upset of the season here, but Geelong came out and just blew them away in that last quarter. But good signs, nevertheless, for Gold Coast.
Some great signs. You know, to match it up against Geelong down at Cardinia Park or Skilled Stadium or Simmons Stadium, whatever you call it, they were fantastic. A couple of the guys that I was really liked was Lynch. Tom Lynch outmarked Harry Taylor a couple of times, and I haven't seen that all year. And he was able to do that. He was bringing the ball down to ground for his smaller guys. Hill was fantastic. You know, Gary Ablett was at his best as normal, getting a lot of physical treatment from his ex-teammates. And one other thing too that got picked up there was Gazza was giving a couple of his ex-teammates high fives out there, so that got picked up, and wasn't too happy. Some supporters about that during the week as well. But the Suns were very, very good. They're going to be an extraordinary team in years to come.
Now, Ronnie, North look like they've found a player in young Aaron Black there. Well, he's kicked 15 goals in the last 6 games, and he's really added a bit of spark to that forward line up for the Kangaroos. Yeah,
he's a nice type, isn't he, Duck? He can jump, he can take a mark, kick goals, and he's quick. And, you know, for him to go up there to help out Lindsay Thomas as well, who's been in great form as well up there, but also to take the pressure off Petrie as well. So when you've got someone like him, Black, that's up there and taking marks, that's just going to help your forward line.
Well, you've got Black, Thomas and also Petrie now up in that forward line. It does look very potent. You had Big Mad Jack, and he's got more muscles than all of us, Gilly, not just Ronnie.
I don't know if he's got them than me.
Now, one player that's hitting a bit of form lately is Goldstein. He was really important to the team last year. He had a fantastic season. This year he's been a bit behind the 8 ball, but he started to come good the last few weeks. That's a huge plus for the Kangaroos.
Yeah, we spoke about Jacobs from Adelaide before. I put Goldstein in the same category. He had a slow start to the year, but when he takes the #1 ruck role, and he rucks all day, he's one of those ruckmen that just thrives on the work, and he builds into a game, and his form over the last few weeks has been very good.
OK, well, we should get some tips for this game. It should be a close one, and Duck, we'll go first to you. Your old side, North Melbourne.
Yeah, Gold Coast playing some terrific footy, but I think the Kangaroos are playing better and they'll win.
Playing better after getting beat by 9 goals.
As Duck said, Kangas are playing good footy at the moment and kicking the ball well. I hope the Kangaroos.
Rock and Ronnie.
Yeah, these two met twice last year. The Kangas won the first one 35, second one 7 points. I reckon the Suns might just sniff them out. I reckon Gold Coast.
He's done his homework this week, Gilly, but look,
that's a bit of a change.
North Melbourne have to win this game. They have to win it. They want to make the 8. They've got to win this game. So the Kangaroos.
You know what? You just took the words right out of my mouth, because that's
what
I
was kissing you. That's for sure.
but that's what I was going to say. If North are going to make the 8, they have to win this game, and that's why. So you're right. You're spot on.
Okay.
Kangaroos.
OK, Gilly, well, it's time to find out the Marngrook Player of the Week for round 11. Let's see how the panel voted. And way out in front there, Andrew Walker. You spoke about him. He's been fantastic. He's really excelling under Michael Malthouse there. And Adam Goods, he hit the critics back there. And the best way that you can, Gilbert, is go out on the field and show them what you got. And he's certainly done that with 3 or 4 goals there.
Oh, look, he's an absolute champion. He just proves why. Nothing worries him. But I like that young kid, Chad Wingard and Burgoyne. He just keeps going and going. That bloke, he gets better.
Let's have a look at Andrew's stats for the weekend, and certainly he's Mr Versatile at the moment. No stats this week? OK, well...
Oh, here it is. 34 he's got 34 disposals.
Yeah, 11 contested possessions and 6 inside 50. So he's a good player that's a swing player, Gilbert. When it gets hot in the kitchen, he's one of those players that can go back and forward. And last year, 2 years ago, he won the leading goal kicking with 60 goals, and this year he's basically played as a defender.
Yeah, now Duck mentioned it before. He's a horses for courses situation, because when they need something to spark or they need something to defend, they go Andrew Walker. He's the X factor for sure.
OK, Gilly, well, we'll leave it there. We're heading for a short break and we'll be coming back with Shelley Worth. This is Marngrook. Welcome back to the Marngrook Footy Show, and it's time now to go around the grounds. Shelley
for the Bulldogs, and you've got a bye, so the pressure's off. How are you feeling?
Well, it's good for the club to win 2 in a row, but geez, they mightn't have another win for a long time. But
no, not
good.
Against the Pies.
It's good.
It is good. So in milestones this week, Adelaide midfielder Patrick Dangerfield reaches 100 games. That's 80 more than Ronnie played at the Crows. And a couple of milestones with a difference this week. Nick Riewoldt plays his 150th game as captain. He's certainly having a great year. And another captain, Andrew Swallow of North Melbourne, will play an impressive 100 consecutive games this weekend. Endurance indeed. And Richmond will induct 4 new members to its Hall of Fame next week. The new inductees will join other team greats such as Michael Roach, Dale Waitman, Bill Barrett and Royce Hart. And of course, Royce Hart was named an AFL legend this week. Wayne, you were at the function in Canberra. Was it strange to be at the capital for such a big AFL do?
Not the most exciting place, Canberra. Sorry to everyone in Canberra, but it was a great function, and Royce is now a legend. Why isn't he already in the Hall of Fame at Richmond?
He is.
He is.
Said that.
Yeah, no, but he's being inducted, you said, now.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was saying they're going to have some new inductees this week.
See.
Listen, darling. On our very own Chris Johnson has selected the 2013 Flying Boomerang squad, which will compete at the AFL Under-16s Championships in July. Now, Chris, the Flying Boomerangs is a development and leadership program for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young men. What can you tell us about the players that you've chosen?
Yeah, look, all the players show all attributes around making that next step to AFL football and their personal development, their leadership. As we see Kim the Boss there, Sam Power, Izzy Frank, NT Boy, Sam Welsh, Byram there from Victoria as well. A lot of the guys are up there competing a couple of months ago in April in Townsville, so hopefully we can develop them to be AFL players, Shell. And as well, what's happening this weekend, the Laguntas program, a Victorian-run program from AFL Victoria about personal development and leadership for Victorian kids to develop into TAC Cup football.
What does Lagunta mean?
Laguntas means tiger. And we're all based at the moment. We're based at the KGI at Richmond, and we'll play Vic Country on Monday morning at 11 o'clock at Punt Road. So if you're not doing nothing, come down and see the best Indigenous talent are in Victoria.
Now, the Beyond Blue Cup, a game to raise awareness about depression, is being played between Noble Park and Balwyn on Saturday, the 2 top teams in the Eastern Football League. Now, there's no AFL games in Melbourne on Saturday, so if you're in town, get along to Noble Park and support the cause. And a couple of tips from me before I go. In the big game tomorrow night, well, Eddie Betts is just going to be too much for Essendon. And I think Brad Scott's plan against Gary Ablett, I actually think it's going to work. So the Roos are for me. And the rest of my tips are on the Marngrook website. And this year, the Saints are celebrating their 140th anniversary, and the historian Russell Holmesbury has just launched a book, Strength Through Loyalty, to mark the important date. And Layla Gurawiwi met with him at Moorabbin.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in, oh, when the Saints go marching in, oh, how I want to be with St Kilda, when the Saints go marching in.
You've just written the book, Strength Through Loyalty, about the history of the club from Moorabbin onwards. What's your favourite memory from this ground?
Well, I suppose if I get run over by a truck tomorrow, I'll be remembered for naming the animal enclosure. I used to write a column for the club magazine and said we stand between the 2 races, and call it the animal enclosure because it's like a cage. And once the Saints were on a roll, the grandstands really started to hum, and it was fantastic.
Your book also has a chapter on Indigenous players. Who was the first Indigenous player to come to the club?
Jimmy Wandon was the first back in early 1950s, 51 I think. We had all the guys in the 90s, well, it was Robert Muir in the meantime, Phil Narkle in the 80s, and then in the 90s, I mean, St Kilda, we hear about Essendon having so many Indigenous players, but they were sort of later than St Kilda. I mean, Saints had Nicky, of course, Gilbert McAdam, Dale Kickett, Russell Jeffrey, these were guys who have played a big part in this club.
You also have a lovely memory of Gilly in one of the finals. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The 1991 final against Geelong was the first final for St Kilda in 18 years. And that day, we'd been out of it for a long time. Gilly kicked the first goal that day on the outer flank at Waverley. And the roar that went up, it was just like 18 years of pent-up energy. We were just waiting for someone to kick a goal in a final for us.
What's one word that describes the essence of St Kilda?
One word, I suppose, resilience. I mean, it's been a pretty tough sort of existence. We know about one premiership, 140 years, but St Kilda keeps bouncing back, keeps fighting on, doesn't knuckle under.
Some great memories there at Moorabbin Gilly. Moorabbin, an Aboriginal word, actually.
Is it? Nah, look, I actually went there and I seen it and I nearly started crying because it's all knocked down, Ronnie, and they've only left one little grandstand there. But you know why I'm more emotional is I actually played the last game at Moorabbin against Fitzroy.
Where was that? 24 players.
Eh? No, I mean, I was part of the team, that's what I'm saying. So, for me, it's very special to me.
That footage there when you were running the goals, why didn't you handball it?
Because there was nobody around me, Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
And the boys said, have a go, go to goal.
There's no glory in the handball, is there, Gilly? Just kick the goal, so get your nose up in lights.
Coming from Ronnie Burns, that's a silly question.
Well, let's have a look at the next game, Gilly, and it is your mob. The Saints taking on the Eagles at the Docklands on Sunday. And let's have a look at the Saints first.
Yeah, Meister's in there. Good to see Jones, Dennis Lane, the ex-Sydney Swan, Saunders, Donnell. Out the side, Sammy Fisher with a foot. They're going to miss Sammy, and Ferguson's been omitted for the West Coast. Hands, Brennan, McGinnity, Cripps and Wilson Glass. They're going to miss the skip. He's out with a hip. And Lacroix, he's a big loss. He's out with an arm. This will be an interesting game because West Coast have got to win.
We might just get some tips on this one. Duck, your selection?
Going to watch this game, looking forward to it. I think West Coast have to win.
Chris? I think the Saints.
Yeah, some big outs for West Coast. St Kilda for me.
West Coast, Nick Adamu and Cox will be dominating.
Yeah, nah, look, Saints at home at Docklands, so they're going to win.
OK. Final game for tonight, the Giants taking on the Cats Saturday at Skoda Stadium.
Yes, Ken Grogan, good to see him back. Gillen, Ugle and Clown, and out the side of Elton's been omitted, and Buntine, Wilson and Core. For the Geelong Cats, they're unbelievable, they're unbeatable. Pozziali, Smith, Springer, Taylor, Murdoch out the side. Harry Taylor managed. Ronnie, I want to ask you what that means. Motlop's out with a knee, Schroeder omitted, Burberry with a quad, and Blickheads managed. What's managed? I've never seen it. What is it?
He's going to manage. They're just going to manage him off the ground.
Just make sure have a rest.
You're going to give him a rest.
So nothing wrong
manage
with
him for the rest.
So if he has a rest, does he get paid?
I tell you, I'm glad that they put manage down because what it means is they're being honest. They're not saying they're injured.
Duck, just quickly, GWS, where are they at the moment in terms of the development?
Oh, look, they're still learning the game. They've still got a long way to go, and you only have to look at Gold Coast and see what they've done this year compared to last year. But they're heading in the right direction.
So tips, Duck.
Oh, it's not a puzzle. Geelong.
Well done to the number one draft pick, Lockie Whitfield, getting the rising star, but the Cats.
The Catters and me and this guy are going up to Barunga tomorrow, so we're going to be up Northern Territory.
OK, I'm going for Geelong, Gilly.
Yeah, don't get in the car with me. Stay in someone else's car. I'm going with the Cats.
OK, Gilly. Well, that's about it for another show. We had advertised tonight that Chris Wilson would be performing live, but Chris has graciously allowed us to reschedule his appearance so that we can pay our respects to Mr Yunupingu with the Yothi Indie song. In the meantime, you can see Chris Wilson perform live at the substation in New Point this Friday and Saturday. Thanks for watching tonight, and we'll go with the Yothi Indie Classic with Neil Finn, Dots on the Shells.